So many Americans have been expressing concerns that the Environmental Protection Agency's power plant regulations are going to eliminate low-cost electricity and replace it with more expensive and variable electricity sources. I recently spoke with Jim Martin about why he thinks these EPA regulations could negatively impact Americans and in particular seniors.
Well, unfortunately, the Environmental Protection Agency is proposing sweeping new regulations that will drive up the cost of energy on every family budget. Family budgets will be strained by these regulations, but the most vulnerable, low-income seniors will be hurt the most by these huge increases in costs.
So let's talk about that. Why should Americans, particularly the seniors, like you mentioned, be concerned about the regulations?
Well, simply, they're not going to be able to afford them. When the President and the EPA are calling for a 30% reduction in carbon emissions by the year 2030, that's going to have a huge impact. What they're doing is closing down coal-fired plants, which is our most abundant source of energy. This president, unfortunately, is becoming the most anti-senior president in my lifetime.
Wow. So do you anticipate higher energy costs for American seniors as a result of those plants closing and the other changes that you were mentioning?
Absolutely. That's on the horizon. And again, coal, this most abundant resource we have. We're the Saudi Arabia of coal, if you will, and they're closing those down. Coal keeps the lights on. Coal provides reliable, low-cost energy. Seniors depend on it. This is really a death sentence for a lot of seniors on fixed incomes. And look, while here in Florida the weather is not quite as volatile as it is with northeastern part of the country, with cold winter months on the horizon, this will have a devastating impact on budgets, clearly on senior citizens on fixed incomes.
Yeah, so besides the winter coming up, how else do you expect this might impact seniors' day-to-day lives?
Pardon me?
I said besides the weather, I mean, how else would you anticipate this impacting seniors in their day-to-day lives?
Well, clearly because of the cost involved. You cannot impose these types of regulations. Look, while you're driving up cost here in the country, it's making our businesses less competitive with the world. China is burning more coal than the whole world combined. Europe is importing coal. Let me use Germany as a good example. When they imposed wind and solar in Germany, trying to shut down coal-fired plants, electricity costs tripled almost overnight. The citizens were alarmed about it. Guess what the government of Germany did? They started importing coal.
Gotcha. So listen, you know, there's a lot of people that probably would say that these regulations are a step toward, you know, cleaner energy. So what would you say to those individuals?
Well, that's a laudable goal, but quite frankly, with the huge technological advances that have come forth in recent years, cleaner energy is clearly by 90% or better than it was just a few years ago. That's a laudable goal, but you don't shut down entire industries just to satisfy some of the environmentalists.
Well, Jim, thanks so much. And listen, tell us, where can our audience find some more information about these new regulations proposed by the EPA?
I'm glad you asked. You can go to www.60plus.org. That's 60plus.org. You can click on Stop the EPA Mandate.
All right. Well, Jim Martin, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
And we'd like to thank 60 Plus Association for sponsoring that segment.